Hey you guys, welcome back to Nikki Peace TV. I am Nikki and I'm so glad you guys are here. If you're new here, thank you for coming. Hey family, what's up y'all? But if not, if you've been here before, then what's up cuz? We family, okay? So today I'm gonna be going over just a few tips and tricks on how to prepare for your chief nurse interview. I know a lot of you guys are preparing for it, whether you're doing the NECP or the DECP, and I just wanted to give you guys some tips. I want to send you guys positive vibes, and I just wish you all the best of luck. I wish that everyone could get chosen, but unfortunately that's not the case. The chief nurse interview is going to be a very important part of your package whenever you're applying for the NECP and the DECP board. The chief nurse has three options basically at the bottom of their page. It's going to say yes, no, maybe. Yes, I do recommend. No, I do not recommend. And I also recommend at a later date. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break it down to things you can do before the interview and also things that's gonna help during the interview. No, I do not have the questions. I don't remember the questions from when I had my interview because it was a couple years ago. These are just things that I've got from my experience and also from people who I've talked to, my colleagues, and these are just tips and tricks to help you alleviate some nerves and just try to do better with your interview, okay? All right, so one of the first things that I recommend before your actual big interview is to set up a meet and greet with your chief nurse if their schedule permits. With it already been the end of January, I would not probably, I'm not gonna say I don't recommend it, but their schedule is probably filled up already. But for future reference, I just recommend having a meet and greet with the chief nurse. That way they can kind of get like a good look at you, put a name with a face, you know, and all that good stuff. So yeah, set up a meet and greet. Also, with the meet and greet, you're able to kind of gauge what type of interview this is going to be. Is it going to be like a laid back? Granted, nothing is laid back about this interview, y'all. This is a professional interview. But is it going to be like a normal conversation, or is it going to be like a stoic to where, like, you know, you're sending attention? So with this chief nurse interview meet and greet, you can kind of just understand and kind of gauge on what type of chief nurse that you have, especially if you never met or talked to them before. Another thing that I recommend is that you take your package with you and be okay with leaving that package because they might just want to keep it. So be okay to have an extra copy of your package, leave it if they need, you know, if they ask, but also know what's in your package. Know what's in your package. Don't be putting false information in your package anyway, because that's a lack of integrity anyway, and so you don't want to do that. Also, before your interview, you want to make sure that your blues are good to go, okay? So what I recommend is that you get someone to look over your stuff, make sure your ribbons are good, make sure your name tape is, you know, everything is leveled, make sure that you lint roll, burn those strings, everything like that, because this is a professional interview. Your blues, the way you wear your blues says a lot about you. The way you wear your uniform, your everyday uniform, your OCPs, says a lot about you. So make sure that when you go into this interview that your blues are good to go. So get with a friend, get with your leadership or whoever, and make sure that your blues are good to go, okay? All right, so you made it to the interview, and so now we are here. So once you go in and talk to your chief nurse, you need to make sure that you are confident in yourself and confident in your package. No, don't go in there cocky like, oh yeah, I know I did this, I know I did this, I deserve this. No, it ain't that. Because at the end of each interview, when they're writing things down, they're gonna be able to, they have like 3 options, I believe, or something like that. It's like recommend, do not recommend, a stronger package, maybe in the future. So don't be cocky, but it's okay to have and show confidence in yourself, okay? Another thing that I tell people is to make sure that you know how to articulate. Use those verbal pauses. My first interview, oh my gosh, it was terrible. I was not prepared, you guys. I was not prepared for the questions. I didn't really do a lot of research, and it showed. I was in there, I wasn't prepared. And so, yes, so whenever you're preparing for this interview, make sure that you use those verbal pauses. If your thing is, or whatever, like that was my thing a long time ago. Just stop, get your thoughts together. It's okay to pause. They understand. So just use those verbal pauses and make sure that you are able to articulate what it is that you're saying, because as an officer, that's going to be important, okay? All right, so another thing that I would recommend is that you know what it means to be an officer. Rather, that means that you are upholding your PT scores. Rather, it means that you understand that you will have to move after so many years, especially depending on your job and your rank, or just understanding the nurse corps, because you guys are going to be preparing for the NECP and DECP. I'm not saying that you need to go and read the whole nurse corps handbook. No, but be familiar with the mission. I don't know if they're going to ask anything because each chief nurse is different, but it doesn't hurt to just know just the basics of it. Another thing that you want to be able to articulate is during ethical dilemmas, are you able to show and have good judgment and show maturity? Okay? So you need to think of a time to where you were in this ethical dilemma and you were able to have good judgment that was a reflection of good maturity and something that someone who's an officer versus like maybe enlisted would do differently. Guys, do not be afraid to show humility, because at the end of the day, no one on this earth knows everything. And it's okay to admit that you have made mistakes, especially whenever you are using an example of whether it's your strength and weakness. You need to be able to show humility and just be able to acknowledge and be able to share that you've made mistakes before. It's okay, all right? So that's another thing. You want to make sure that you be able to show humility, because you're not expected to know everything, and it's okay to voice those mistakes. All right, speaking of strengths and weaknesses, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and be able to articulate how you turn your weakness into a strength, because they're going to want to know that. So keep in mind, just think of a time when you were at work and something happened. It's one of your weaknesses, whether it's like delegating, whether it's asking for help, whether it's anything, but just turn your weakness into a strength. Another question that I feel that most people ask is they want to know, where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years? And then what they're going to be looking at during this time is, does your goals line up with the Air Force mission? Because at the end of the day, you're in the Air Force, the mission comes first, right? So if you're going in there talking about how you just want to do this and then get out, you're basically closing doors before you even get to it. So don't do that. Do not do that, okay? Just make sure that your goals align with the Air Force mission. All right, you guys, so we are getting to the end of your interview. And so one of the questions that they might ask is, what is your backup plan? You need to have a backup plan, because unfortunately, everyone who's going to apply to this board, whether it's NECP or DECP, everyone's not going to get selected. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. So you need to have a plan in mind, a backup plan in mind, just in case you don't get selected, because they're gonna want to know that. And to me, that just shows your resilience and your perseverance on if you're told no, because there are a lot of people who are fortunate enough to get accepted the first time, but there are other people who they apply 2 or 3 times and then they get accepted. So have a backup plan. Last thing is that you want to have questions for your chief nurse, okay? They're gonna ask you, okay, well, do you have any questions for me? Have questions, 2 or 3 questions, whether it's about life, whether it's about what they expect out of their nurses, whether it's about what books they're reading. I don't know. Whatever you feel is good questions for a chief nurse, ask those questions. All right, you guys, so that is all I have for today. Like I said, I just wanted to make a quick video as you guys prepare for your big day. Good luck to everyone. I am sending positive vibes to all of y'all, and I hope that you guys are ready. We're excited to have you in the Nurse Corps. And yes, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me, whether it's via email, social media, whatever. Like, I am here. I am here to help. And if I don't know the answer, I can try to get the answer for you, okay? All right, y'all. Until next time, good luck. Ciao.